Afternoon, guys. Hope you're all well. Thank you for all the comments on the last video in the workshop. They've been some really great comments and much appreciated for all the feedback. And so some of the comments left certainly 2 unanswered questions, which I'm going to address them before I do a video, which I promised for the gorgeous Husky 51. And also I'm going to spend 30 seconds just describing the difference between something you receive anecdotal, factual, and then something which then gets misinterpreted as in misleading. And so in that last video I mentioned that cleanliness is super important. Barrier cream, so I have barrier cream on again today, just as a matter of course before I touch the saws. Always, if not putting gloves on, though these are all clean. I'm meticulous in that regard. And that when you touch petrochemical products, some cleaning products, some things which are classed as solvents, invariably loads of those are organic liquids, they feel cold to the touch. And so I had been told by somebody, and I believed the information, that petrol molecules were smaller than water molecules. Okay, so EM, thank you ever so much. EM is pointed out, gentleman's messaged me through YouTube, that information is wrong, and actually the petrol molecules, and it's, of course it's obvious, the petrol molecules are a string of hydrocarbons, as he's pointed out, and they are bigger. So I'm misspeaking in that regard. But also EM has gone on, so if any of you have read that comment, it's absolutely critical that we also take off the stuff which is not true at the end. So EM, you went on to say that the coldness doesn't tell you anything about the molecular structure, doesn't tell you anything about the reaction or whatever. So I've got to address it, because if you know that string of hydrocarbons and the makeup, then it tells you everything about the reaction. So I don't want to be boring, guys, but it's critical. If you've got nothing else from that last video, if you've got nothing else, remember this: if any part of anything belonging to crude oil touches your hand and it feels cold, when it feels cold, EM, when it feels cold, and you will know this, as it feels cold, that is the very reaction. You said you can tell nothing about the reaction. So the coldness is, of course, as the liquid touches your skin, it's vaporizing. That means when it's out of its container and it's in the atmosphere, that liquid is starting to turn into vapor. And because it's changing state, if it's either in a solid, a liquid, or a gaseous state, as things change state, they use energy. And so when that liquid is exposed to the air, it uses heat. The heat comes out of that liquid. That's what drives that transition from liquid to vapor. And you drop temperature. That temperature you feel is the very reaction you say you can tell nothing about. And so that's exactly what I'm talking about. And then as that reaction takes place and you feel the cold, that tells you then the very thing you say that it doesn't tell you. One, it tells you it's a volatile liquid, and that's the actual technical definition for it as well. So it'll be volatile in that it's prone in the atmosphere to vaporizing incredibly quickly. So in the petrochemical world, and you probably know more than me, in the petrochemical world, in crude oil, you're going to have an ethanol content. Ethanol's boiling point is 78 degrees C, give or take, carcinogenic. Benzene in fuel, boiling point 80 degrees C, carcinogenic. Toluene, boiling point strangely higher than water, what is it, 110, 112, carcinogenic. These are the things which get left behind in fuel. And so when you touch it and you feel that getting cold, guys, regardless of what you read, when you feel that getting cold, that'll be on your cutaneous layer, your skin. as it's getting cold, that means something else is happening. The vapor around your face, there's all the things you don't want in your body. It'll be subcutaneous, it'll be underneath the skin, next to your bones and all your tendons and your joints. So if it feels cold, you don't want it in your body, full stop. And you know, as a very famous physician, or a very famous quantum scientist, Richard Feynman, quantum physicist, Nobel Prize winner, when he was questioned about a couple of subjects in his book, and it's very anecdotal and incredibly funny, and somebody thought they'd had a piece of information which he didn't know, and he then went on to explain that a small piece of information taken out of context can be really as harmful as useless as not having any information. And so it's great to know that the molecular structure is slightly bigger, but it doesn't also then explain to people that the weight of water by volume, water is denser and heavier. 1 litre of water is heavier than 1 litre of petrol or ethanol. And the very thing you mention, so it tells you then that in the petrochemical world, if it gets cold and it's crude oil related, it tells you it's a hydrocarbon based liquid. It tells you there's a reaction taking place on your skin. It tells you it's a volatile liquid. You know it's going to have a lower boiling point. And if any of you've used any products such as brake cleaner, if any of you have used any chlorinated brake cleaner, so tetrachloroethylene, is it tetrachloroethylene? That's terrible stuff. Dichloromethane. So dichloromethane, although actually not flammable, dichloromethane has a boiling point of less than 40 degrees C. They're all dreadful carcinogenics. So guys, the only thing to take away from the last video, regardless of the molecular size of petrol, is if it feels cold when it touches your skin and it's not cold water, and it's anything to do with crude oil or its production, any solvents, and any organic liquid, loads of the nastiest ones are called solvents because when they touch another substance, they dissolve it. Make no mistake, it's terrible stuff. So if it feels cold, that's the reaction you don't want, and you definitely don't want it on your skin. So EM, thank you ever so much for updating me on the size of the molecule, and I hope the rest of that information is taken in by everybody as well. Right guys, Husky 51. Promised to show this to somebody the other day. Really a late saw for me as well, from 1990. I think these are, pretty sure these are the same as one of my steel 28s. So 45mm piston, 32mm stroke, and make about 3.1 horsepower. In fact, they're 1 horsepower less than the 61s, which are obviously 48, 34s. So this girl is, well, they're gorgeous engines. So I've said to somebody I would show her running because she's not been cut with for an absolute age. She's got a brand new 325 pitch full chisel chain on her. She also comes with a really excellent semi-chisel, but again my arms aren't allowing sharpening right now, so loads of my saws are coming with 2 or 3 chains just because I'm finding it really painful to sharpen. And also comes with a brand new correct file and sharpening guide. Interesting this. So the guide bar on this is is labelled a B20, which makes you think it's a 20-inch, but I'd say it was an 18-inch bar. So it's particularly, it's very, very strange, some of the numbering. Let me show you this girl running. They're beautiful running engines. They really are. So instant up, instant down, starts textbook, excellent chain brake, and beautiful plastics all round. She's obviously had a replacement side cover at some stage in her life, and no brakes on the underside, felling spikes present, just a gorgeous saw, really ready for work for somebody. Let's do a couple of cuts. Right guys, what have we got here? We've got some about 14-inch. Really interesting. And actually, maybe we'll have to take a disc back to back with a 61 to see how she compares. She's 1 horsepower less, but it'll be really interesting. Guys, so she's just flawless running, and just flawless running. Beautiful, beautiful running engines, just gorgeous running engines. So this was a 1-owner saw, and is, I'd say, is just absolutely impeccable running. Right, let's try. We'll put the Rancher 61 against her. This will be very interesting. So, these really need no introduction, do they? 48 piston, 34 stroke, 4 horsepower, running a genuine Husqvarna bar. This is not a brand new full chisel chain. I don't remember how I've put this one away. I think she was away pretty sharp, but I guess we'll soon know when we run her. Okay, again, another beautiful engine. Hey, wow. Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? It's really hard to tell. They both seem ever so similar. Fancy the 61 just feels like it has more torque. It's unusual, isn't it? So the 61 is running full chisel Husqvarna bar and chain setup, 3/8 pitch, and the 51 is running a 325 pitch, so a slightly smaller curve. Let's guys, we're going to need to take a couple more discs, just so perhaps I can watch the rerun and see how much quicker they are or slower. Yeah. Hey guys, just saw a huge knot this side. I was just interested to see what the power was like going through the middle of a knot. And well, she's close to the 61, not quite the legs of the 61, but spectacular saw nonetheless. So there she is. That's the gorgeous Husqvarna 51. So hopefully might be an amazing home saw for somebody. You'd be hard pushed to think what you couldn't cut with this beautiful middleweight saw. Absolutely beautiful. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and as you would expect, lovely clean cutting, beautiful, obviously brand new chain, and okay, let's put her back up there. So other than a slightly brighter left hand cover, she looks completely undamaged, absolutely complete, running beautifully. Any questions, please just ask. And as I say, if you remember one thing from the last video, if any of the fluids feel cold, that is the reaction. Get it off your hands. For everybody's safety, I just stress it. Thanks for watching guys. Stay safe. Bye for now.